Hey, Stacey David here with the Tales of a Gearhead podcast. Now, what is this? Well, it's a podcast that covers everything automotive, everything mechanical, everything that's just cool about the automotive lifestyle. And since that's just about everything, you're going to love it. Today's guest is Abe Wine from the Truck Night in America show. Let's get rolling. So, do you have a shop now?
I have what I call a side hustle. You know, there's a lot of us that do that. I'm at my family's big rig shop most of the time.
Okay.
Helping my uncle. Going back to the young men thing, there is a dire need for reliable, quality. I still call them mechanics. I don't
absolutely.
like technicians and this.
No, mechanic. Yeah, it's a great.
Yeah, we're mechanics, and that's what I say we are. Don't get me wrong; it has become a lot more technical with, you know, CAN communication and bus signals for, you know, computer talking to this computer, but I still say mechanic. So I help my uncle out a lot in our family shop. My grandfather's still there at, God bless him, getting ready to be 84 years old.
Wow, that's awesome.
And
still turning wrenches.
He slowed down. We try to get him not to. He's had a kidney removed. He's won his battle against cancer technically twice now.
Wow.
And it's like,
sounds like a great guy.
Yeah, you know, he'll tell you 100% it's all because of the big man upstairs and, you know, and because of his faith. But he's pulled through it all. So we're like, hey, you've earned the right to take it easy. I know you don't want to take it easy. He's one of those, but you've earned the right. But he will go out into the junkyard and pull parts sometimes just because that's what he wants to do.
You know, a guy like that will die with a wrench in his hands, and he
Absolutely.
needs to.
Yeah.
It was like when B.B. King was getting older, people were like, well, he needs to retire. It's like, no, that guy's going to die with his guitar in his hands. And if you take that away from him, he'll die tomorrow.
Yeah, and that's the reason my uncle and I, we get nervous because we have some acreage.
Yeah.
He'll go, like, there'll be a
Where's
wind.
Grandpa?
Yeah, we'll go, hey, we haven't heard one of the machines. Like, we got little buggies, little, like, mules or Kubotas that we drive around up into the lot. And we haven't heard any of those for a while. Where's Pap at? Where's Dad at? Well, one of us has to go check, and he's up there with a chainsaw. Yeah. Steel chainsaw just dropping a tree down like it ain't nothing, and like, yeah, I'm gonna cut this up for firewood. It was in the way. Oh, okay, Pap.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. I tell you what, as thinking back as you're growing up, now that you're a builder and you're a fabricator and stuff like that, what do you think is probably one of the most important skills that a person needs to learn if they want to work on cars? Patience? or just
nowadays with the newer stuff, 100% patience.
Yeah,
100% patience would probably be you. I know we were joking, but that's probably it. It depends what you want to get into. Like if you're trying to be, you know, at your local dealership, patience. I would also say, you know, get into the more technical aspect.
Yeah.
You know, learn your computer skills. Yeah. I'm in that weird generation where I was right in between. Mm-hmm. You know, especially growing up with the older, my grandfather and my uncle who were very old school. Yeah. And then, like now, I'm trying to teach myself CAD because I want to do more. Yeah. You know, fabricate my own parts more and do stuff like that. Yeah, I can do the old CAD method. You know, cardboard. You know, animated design or whatever you want to call it, but when you can lay it out, especially in production. Yeah. You know, I would say that as well. Just the more technical computer side of things.
That's really good. That's really good advice. I tell you what, for me, I keep pushing, you know, young people or just, you know, people that are getting into it to learn mechanical skills like you talked about being a mechanic. Right. Because there's a lot of guys now, generations that grow up doing bolt-on stuff. And there's a guy that'll, you know, he'll get it like a skyjacker lift and he'll bolt it on his vehicle, but he's not a mechanic. Yeah. He doesn't really understand what he did. Yeah. He just followed some directions and replaced some parts. And the problem is when some of those parts don't fit, or if you have an issue, if you don't understand the geometry of a 4-link suspension or a supercharger or, you know, a fuel injection, you're in trouble. Right. Because now you're at the mercy of a hotline, you know, calling somebody up going, hey, what do I do? And they don't know. Right. They're just like, well, follow the directions or send it back, you know. And the place for a mechanic is always there. And a mechanic to me is the guy that he understands how it all goes together and can make it work and figure out how to make it.
Can troubleshoot something.
Can troubleshoot. That's huge.
Yeah, and that's one of the arguments I have with a lot of these dealerships. And I can go into great detail, especially on the big rig side of things. Oh, yeah. And I don't want to say brands or names because I've literally fought with some big names.
Oh yeah.
Where they're literally using like a team viewer or remote accessing their diagnostic equipment from somewhere, God knows where.
Yeah.
And looking at what this quote unquote technician has and says, okay, you need to do this, this, and this. So literally they're just I hate to say it, but a parts changer.
That's exactly what they are.
And they're not, these young men and women aren't learning, how to actually troubleshoot. Now, some of it, I wouldn't want to troubleshoot. I've dealt with some of these, a big rig now, a brand new big rig. I can tell you for a fact, like a Kenworth, there's like 12 modules and they all have to communicate with each other. And
you just plug it up and the machine tells you what the machine says.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I don't have that guy that I can call and remote access it. I'm left to troubleshoot it myself. So that's something for the young people. I would definitely like, if you want to be like an actual mechanic, troubleshooting skills, like focus on that the best you can. Don't be a parts changer.
Yeah.
Now, if you're going to be a builder, such as yourself, or what we like doing, welding.
Absolutely. When I got a welder, it changed my world.
Yes.
'Cause it took me to a whole different level of, and I had done paint jobs and all that other stuff, but when I got a welder, completely changed everything. Because then nothing was impossible.
No. Yeah, exactly. And that's, there was two people. There was you, love him or hate him, and there was Jesse James.
Yeah.
And I seen you guys TIG welding. And I grew up around MIG welding and arc welding.
Yeah.
But out in the boonies, like, that TIG welding, that race car, like that precision TIG welding wasn't something we had.
Yeah.
And I saw that and I was like, what is that? You can make anything with that machine. I gotta have one.
What is this voodoo?
Yes, what is this? How do you do it? I want this.
Yeah.
How do you have both hands moving at the same time and a foot pedal? And I want to know how to do that.
Oh, yeah. And are you a TIG now?
Yeah, I have everything. I do a little bit of everything.
Have you ever had to hold the pedal between your knees?
I haven't done that one yet. I've laid upside down and trying to get the tippy toe out there.
Yeah, I was under a car one time trying to do some stuff, and I actually had to put it between my knees, and I was pinching it with my knees like the thigh master. And trying to control that is not my best weld beat, I'll tell you what. It was, but you do what you have to do.
Right. But at the same time, when you start, you're doing a chromoly roll cage.
Yeah.
You don't really want to MIG that. So, like you said, you do what you got to do. But that if you're trying to be an actual builder, I would say welding's probably one of the biggest things. Because you can always, get an engine builder to build you an engine or a transmission, and then you can do that. You can figure out how to bolt it together. Put it in the vehicle. But when you got to start building and figure out how to fabricate your,
absolutely,
and do that, that's when you really come into your own. And that's when, like you said, anything's possible at that point.
Yeah. And it's not for everybody. I mean, everybody's gifted with certain talents, and some guys, like I've got a really good friend, is one of the best engine builders that I've ever seen. I mean, he could work for any race team. He could work for any drag team. He's a teacher down at one of the high schools, teaches motors down there, been doing it for 20 some years. Fantastic engine builder. Okay, so I'm like, why don't you come over here and, I'm putting a rear end together. Why don't you come over and help me out with this? He goes, oh, I don't touch rear ends. I'm like, what? He goes, oh, no, there's just all kinds of voodoo going on there. I don't know. He was scared to death and wouldn't touch one. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Well, it's like automatic transmissions.
Same thing. And
I don't like doing those myself.
Well, but see, the thing is, on a car, wiring is like that. Paint is like that. There are guys that will do upholstery. It's just when it's out of your comfort zone. A lot of times guys, especially if they're really good at one thing, a lot of times they'll go, nah, because they don't want to mess it up. It's like, trust me, it's not that hard.
Right.
It's just like anything else. You just have to learn it,
And that's what I've tried. Here, I found myself over the last couple of years, like right now, I'm actually doing a project. I have a separate space that I acquired for a bit.
Yeah.
And I'm redoing a 1954 Ford F500 for a company.
I saw the pictures of that.
Yes.
That's cool as stink.
Yes. So this truck, the company was started by a local family and another family. Well, let me step back for a second. The cannery, as we call it, was started in 1947.
Okay.
Which, especially out in the rural area, that's a big deal because we're just coming off World War II.
Yeah.
We're trying to get back to some normalcy in the country.
Uh-huh.
And so they opened a factory to process apples. At one time, Frederick County, Virginia was the apple capital of the world. Like, we had the most orchards. We put out so many apples. And with, the modern way as it is, that's no longer the case, unfortunately. But this plant has survived. Another family, a family friend of ours, had bought it in '66. And this truck had already left by then. And in the history of the company, nobody had ever lettered any of their trucks. But this one truck from 1954 still has the original stamp where it was sold at, the little metal emblem that they riveted on. Still has that, Winchester, Virginia. It was called Shenandoah Ford then. Yeah. And still had the original lettering with Shawnee Springs Canned Foods on the side. Brathwaite Brothers, which was the original family that is founded the cannery. And the Whitaker family had bought it in '66, and now a young man, a little younger than me, who's starting to help run the company, which his grandfather was one of the Whitakers that bought it, came to me and said, hey, this guy found this truck, and he knows who I am, and he wants to know if I want it. And it still had the original lettering. It was faded pretty bad. Yeah. So I said, get it. You get it, I'll move whatever I got to move. We'll do something. So we got a space and we started tearing into this thing. Of course, you know how those projects are.
Oh, yeah.
Well, especially when it's passion. One thing has led to, it was supposed to just be a quick kind of get it running.
Never.
No. Now we're, cabs off, new floor pan. The motor was seized. So now I was like, let's do a Y block. Yeah. It's already a Y block.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah. So in '54, you only had pretty much the 239 Y block. Yeah. It was frozen. It had a crack in the block. I was like, okay, we can't use the original motor. Let's do a 292 and let's punch it out and let's call up the Murmurts and let's do some really wild Y block stuff. Because nobody does a Y.
Nobody does Y block stuff. Yeah.
No. So I was like, we're going to be different. Yeah. Oh, my brother says we should LS it. I was like, no, I'll punch you in the face.
Yeah. Don't ever LS that. No.
Yeah.
Y block would be cool.
So that's what we did. We took a 292. His grandfather luckily had all these Y blocks. That pack rat syndrome came into play. Had all these Y blocks laying around. Found a good 292. Years ago, Ford had a rebuild program, and this one had already been punched out to 40 over. Needed to go a little more, so we're at 60 over now. Okay. J forged aluminum pistons.
Nice.
Stage 1
cylinder
rods.
walls thick enough to handle that kind of board.
Yeah. Okay. We're told. Murmur Machine out in California they're like kind of a Y block specialist. Okay. He's one of the only one casting new aluminum heads for these things.
Really?
And there is a very long waiting list. And I have still not, a year wait now, I don't think I've gotten mine yet.
Wow.
Because the Y block, from my understanding, like over in New Zealand, that's their flathead.
I believe it.
Because that was one of the first motors that had actually come there.
Sure.
They didn't get the flathead. What they got first was the Y block. So to them, that's traditional hot rodding. Yeah. So there's a huge demand over there for them.
I had a killer set of Thunderbird valve covers for one of those at one time. I got rid of them. I was like, what am I going to do with these? And that was before I started my collection of valve covers. But that's awesome. That's really cool.
No, we got. He makes aluminum 4-barrel intakes for them. Yeah. We did a can. We loped it up a little bit. So since we're waiting on aluminum heads, I kind of wanted to get this truck running for them. I got to show you the picture. The valves in this thing look like they're out of a big block Chevy. I mean, we opened this Y block up. So this is a very interesting build we're doing for this. And it's a build of passion because it's for the family. Yeah. There's a lot of history there. But to save that lettering, I knew I wasn't, again, going back to kind of being able to do everything. Yeah, I could have saved the lettering, but it wasn't going to come out the way I wanted it. Mm-hmm. So I literally paid Scratch. Scratch is a world-renowned pinstriper.
Oh, I'm familiar with him.
He worked with Foose, and I think he even did the show overhauling for a bit. Mm-hmm. But Scratch was a buddy of mine, one of the guys I met through this whole TV career that I quote unquote career I've had. Mm-hmm. And I said, Scratch, I got this lettering that needs to be restored. I need you to do it. So he came up from Texas, stayed with me for a week. We fixed all the metal in the doors. He dry brushed the lettering. So the original lettering's there. We never took any of the paint off. Yeah. Dry brushed the lettering. He ended up finding the original letter's name at the bottom of one of the doors.
Oh, that's awesome.
And redid it so we could, just pay tribute to this letterer.
Yeah.
Come to find out, he had lettered street signs in our area and had logos with local brands in our area, and just all this history came out of this truck.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to see it. When do you think it'll be done?
That's an excellent question.
300 years.
It was supposed to be a few-month project, and now we're just over a year now into this thing. Yeah. And I finally got the cab back on, and finally I just told the owners, I was like, look, don't ask when it's going to be done. Yeah. It'll be done when I get it done. Yeah. Because it's kind of a part-time project for me. Not that we want it to be, but that's just how it is.
Yeah.
And we want to do it right. And luckily, they're very understanding.
Sure.
They want it done right. They don't want to have to redo something in a year or two. They just want it done once.
Yeah.
So that way they can put it on display. And they plan on driving it. Like we still have the Apple Blossom Parade in the Winchester, Virginia area, and they want to put it in the parade. They want to drive it around. They want to haul fruit on it still. I'm like, okay, here we go.
That's cool.
If you like cars, if you like coffee, you're going to love Gears Coffee Cars. Because in each pack, you'll find a special blend of rich, robust coffee to get your blood pumping, as well as a collectible cartoon sticker and matching photo card of some of the wildest vehicles Stacey has built or featured over the years. Collect the whole series and be sure to keep an eye out for the ultra-rare Strange Brew card that are added to random packages to keep things interesting. It's Gears Coffee Cars, the best bean on the car scene. A successful automotive project takes planning and organization, but instead of using an old tablet or notebook, there's the Gears Deluxe Project Planning Book. This was designed to help you lay out a project, the parts, the tools, costs, and keep it organized with colored tabs, a pouch for receipts, and even a place to attach photos. If you decide to sell the vehicle, it serves as a complete history of what's been done. If you have a project or plan on starting one, the Gears Project Planning Book is the best way to lay it out and make it happen.
All right, speaking of apples, you sent me some insanely good apple butter stuff last year. What the heck? Did you make that?
Yeah, my family makes that. So,
are you selling it?
No.
I mean, I'm telling you guys need to. Where could they get some of your apple butter?
My apple butter they can't really get. So that's my grandmother's recipe. Now, if I could do a shameless plug, I will say the company I'm restoring that truck for, Shawnee Springs, Canned Foods, they make apple butter. That's kind of one of the things they're known for.
Okay.
So if they want apple butter, they can go to Shawnee Springs and get it. But my personal family recipe is not for sale.
Yeah.
And it's literally we just give it to friends and family and people we know that we've had relationships with.
It was awesome, man.
And it's that apple butter is kind of like they have it out on the West Coast, but I think it was more derived as an Appalachian America thing.
Oh yeah.
And my family still does a lot of those things. Like we still butcher pigs.
Yeah.
We still butcher and do a lot of that ourselves and make scrapple and we make the apple butter. It's an intense process for a few people to do, but we do it the old way. We got the old copper kettle, and we get out and stir it. And I think I even sent you a video of that at one point.
And now, do your kids help with that?
Yeah. So now I have a 9-year-old daughter, and my son is too young. We haven't since my son's been born. I don't think we've done it yet.
How important do you think that is for kids to learn those kind of skills and stuff? The kind of those old school skills.
The way the world's going right now, I think it's extremely important. I think it's important on a number of levels to help teach you the value of the amount of work it takes. Before the machinery was ever around, before we had all these cool cars and trucks to play with and these machines to play with, you had to do things a certain way, and it was more a labor of love, and sometimes a labor of survival. You did those things. Apple butter lasts a really long time when you can it.
Yeah.
So you would have it. You only had to do it once. You could have it for years to come.
Yeah.
Same with if you can meat or whatever, it lasts forever. So it teaches you discipline. And it makes you appreciate the effort that goes into these things to get something.
Yeah, and it taught us. I know that because my mother and my grandmother and stuff used to can all the time, and it taught you that you couldn't have everything whenever you wanted.
Yeah.
Because when the canned tomatoes were gone, they were gone.
Right.
So you didn't eat them all, in the first couple of weeks.
That's right. That's right. And
it's, and you had to ration it out. I remember going in there because my mother, my grandmother, they had jams and jellies, and they didn't do apple butter, but those kind of things. And if you wanted the strawberry, there's 3 jars left, and when they're gone, they're gone. It's next season before you get them again.
That's right. All right.
And that just kind of teaches discipline and that kind of thing that people tend to get away from.
100%. Yeah, my grandmother, she still cans. My grandfather, even at his age, he still grows a garden.
Yeah.
We can.
That's that Depression era stuff.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Cans corn. We can green beans, tomatoes. Tomatoes is the worst. It's so messy to can tomatoes. But yeah, we do all this stuff. It's just a part of life for us. Sometimes I don't even think about it. I forget there's a lot of people that don't do that. They weren't raised that way. They've never seen it done before even. So I don't know. I'm spoiled that way. I've been blessed, I guess I could say.
Yeah.
I've seen that thing,
That's awesome. Well, man, thanks for dropping by. Anytime you're in the area, man, drop back by. We'll have you back on.
I will 100% make the journey to come down and hang out and talk to you anytime, Stacey.
Now, is there any place that people can go to see this truck being built? Do you have a website? Or?
Yeah, so I'm actually redoing a website right now, right in the middle of it, so it's under construction. But you can find me on YouTube. You know, everybody, the business name that I have is SHOPRAT METAL WORKS. That's always been a nickname of mine, is SHOPRAT. Yeah, nickname of mine was SHOPRAT, given to me in a shop when I was like 16 years old.
Yeah.
So SHOPRAT METAL WORKS has always been my thing. You find it on YouTube, Instagram, you know, all the social medias pretty much. SHOPRAT METAL WORKS is pretty much what I go by. Awesome. If I'm on Facebook, my personal is just like, see pictures of me and my kids doing dumb stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's usually, and then anybody that wants to talk in person, I always tell people to come out to Trail Hero in Utah. I always do Trail Hero.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite off-roading events, and you're always welcome to come trail.
We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it one of these years.
I want you to come to Trail Hero.
Yeah,
100%.
We're gonna make it one of these years.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Abe, thanks, man. We'll see you again.
Thank you.
All right, that's our show for today, which means you need to get out there and start working on something. Spend some time turning wrenches. You might be surprised how much you like it. Make sure you check out our website, staceydavid.com, because we've got all kinds of new products and some other great stuff that you're just going to love. Also, make sure to check out our social media. That's Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, all at Official Stacey David. Our social media is where you're going to find all of the bonus content, the giveaways, the contests, the trivia. We even have extra viewer projects that focus on what you are working on. Also, the new season of Gears will be on MAV TV, and YouTube will be the place that you can view all of your favorite Gears episodes, as well as the full project builds that follow the project from beginning to end. Make sure to check out our new Gears coffee cars. This is a unique blend of coffee and cool stickers to collect that will appeal to anyone. All right, that's all the announcements. We're all up to date. We'll see you next time.